Diving forward, he had it in his hands. There it bobbles, and it's grassed.
On a pitch like this, you need all the help you can get as a bowler. Expect to catch these at this level these days. Desperate dive, but not to be.
Something Australia may do as the series and the day progresses. Harry Brook bowls some short stuff at him. And it's just landed short as well. That was a good comeback from Borland in that over. 159 for 3. You can see why he's a handful on pitches with carry, because this sort of edge would carry in Australia to a third slip. On this featherbed of a pitch, is landing way short.
It's going to pose a problem, isn't it, in terms of the slip stagger, the distance they stand from the bat. The pitch continues to die. You might even see a slip in a helmet. Really up close for that edge.
All right, guys.
Change of angle for Lyon. He's predominantly bowled round the wicket. He's just going to try over the wicket. Obviously no footholds, no Stark playing.
Go.
161 for 3.
Message début en brouillard. Baissez between the minutes, l'équipe est trop now. Voilà.
This is gonna taste all right.
England 3 for 161. You change of bowling. Josh Hazel will come into the attack. Change of ends for Hazelwood. Quite impressive in his first spell. Picked up the first wicket of the day. Very much a split field here from the Australians. Been operating all day with lots of men in the deep, protect the boundaries. Deep backward point, deep square leg for the ex-English captain. It's looked good for his 30. Harry Brook has raced to 25. Good start as well, to expect from this Australian fast bowling brigade. Very consistent to start this spell as well. It's the exact area there that has troubled Joe Root through the years. Hazlewood and Cummins challenging the top of off stump, quite often trapping on the crease. And as a result, what we're seeing with Joe Root today is he's batted a couple of feet outside of his crease. Try and take that LBW out of the equation. Has a small back and across movement, tries to get over and outside the line of his off stump. You see there, probably a foot and a half out of his crease.
And just the occasional ball doing that at the moment. And there's, watching this match, so 34 overs old, the older ball seems to me to have done more than the newer one. And I don't know if that's the ball or whether it might be the pitch just loosening a little, the roller wearing off, but probably a half an hour before lunchtime and now the half hour after lunch, just seeing the odd one do something. This is where Pat Cummins, I think, captaincy will be tested, because he's got to keep enough fielders in place to take those opportunities for that ball that does do the odd thing. At the moment, still a lot of men on the boundaries, a lot of sweepers. Slips now spread. Steve Smith's gone to a 1.5. Cameron Green's at a finish gully. Lovely shot. Beats Cummins as well. That'll be 4. That's when Joe Root plays at his best, when he plays nice and straight. Lovely time.
Yeah, he won earlier. They picked out the man at mid-on. Not on that occasion. Valiant attempt from Cummins. Got his right hand to it. Simple. Everything about Joe Root's technique is simple. Nicely balanced. If anything, his head will fall over to mid-off a little bit. You see here the peak of his helmet is jumping a little bit of an angle. It's a nice free fall of the bat.
Hazlewood back on line and length. That must have been a good half hour after lunch. I've ducked up to have my lunch and I've been rushed on air here. I think it must have been a good half hour for England. Put 2 Australians on together.
There was a bit of chat in the back of the commentary box. It might be better in the test match to have the 2 of us on together. Let's make most of it, Tub.
It'd be nice if some Ricks fell here.
We'll kick a couple out the back of the box, and we'll go to work.
It'll be the last time. And again, Root finds Gary. Hasn't timed this as well. And Cummins does very well. Keep that to a single.
Well, that scoring rate, it just feels like the last probably 30 minutes of the first session, certainly the way that Australia have started after the break, feels like they have put the brakes on a little bit, but you look up at the score rate and it's still 4.8 runs and over. England were incredibly good in the first session at picking up the singles. We talked a lot about the deep fielders being out. They actually got 54 singles in the first session. 12 boundaries. The average through the test matches is about 10.5 boundaries from sort of 27, 28 overs in the first session. So the boundaries never really got away from Australia. It was more the singles and the strike rotation.
Played that behind point again. Gee, timed the ball well. And that gets away from Travis Head. Drop catch a tough one, and now a missed field, and the crowd are letting you know about that. And it was nicely timed from Harry Brook. No doubt about that. And Travis had some work to do, but once you commit to the ground, you've got to make sure you keep the ball front.
He's had a 10-15 minutes, he'd rather forget. Travis Head down in that position. Down a slight difficult catch. It wasn't a hard one, but one that looking back he probably should have held on to. It was dangerous. Harry Brook. That's the game of cricket, isn't it? You make a mistake like that, you can guarantee the ball's going to follow you around for the next half an hour of the game.
Yeah, talking about that catch in the deep there, it wasn't an easy catch by any means, but one at this level you expect to get held. When you get two hands to it running in, you've got the ball in your side. All the time, you've really got to hang on to that.
So we can get them on full extension. If you can get that just centimetres or inches before that hits the ground, you can then get a full extension out, push your hands out and extend, and then take the impact away from your elbows hitting the ground.
Well taken from Alex Carey. Really well taken. That's not easy. Yeah, just a natural catcher. And that's the 50 partnership between these two. They look for two and settle for one. And that 50 partnership's come off 54 balls.
Yeah, we're used to seeing that now up from this England team over the last 12 months. Keep that scoreboard ticking over and ticking over quickly. It's a good point you make, though, about Travis Head being in that position. He's probably fielded 20 or 30 balls out there today already, so why not have your absolute best fieldsman out there? Labuschagne, someone like that who you know is safe, who's quick to the ball, got a good throwing arm.
Now, a bit of a half shout from those around for the catch to Steve Smith. I'm sure it wasn't for LBW. Steve Smith doesn't look too perturbed. Just Labuschagne at bat pad. Just as if there might have been an inside edge on that.
It's regulation for Marnus Tubby, you know that. It says bat on everything.
That's 174 for 3. I don't think there's any inside edge on that. Let's have a look. Oh, it's miles away from the bat. Miles away. You're right, Ricky. A gorgeous day for cricket. A lovely day for batting, really. A few clouds in the sky now, but nothing of any sort of threat.
Interestingly, Tub, Australia just made that change to the field. Travis has come up to cover now, and it is Marnus Labuschagne that's gone back to what has been the hot spot on the field for the whole day. Lots of balls hit down there. That one catch been put down in that area.
Yeah, the game is very different. No doubt about that. This transformation you talked about means that all sides have to adjust their tactics. The good old days, Ricky, it was put your best fielders in the slip or the gully or a really good cover fieldsman. Now a deep point becomes a crucial spot with this Bazball approach.
And a wicket taking position, that's the thing as well. It's not just a run saving spot. It doesn't need to be your fastest fieldsman across the ground. Get someone out there with hands. I think as this series goes on, we'll see more and more catches in those positions. Deep square, the deep square catches, whether that's a third man or a deep. Backward square on the...
It's against Joe Root, that little bit of extra bounce around stump. And we all know that Joe Root likes to run the ball down to third man. It's a big scoring area for him. And Cameron Green, who's about 6 foot plenty. It's just occasionally gets one to bounce a bit more than the batsmen think. Oh, it is a maiden. Wow. 174 for 3. So Stokes, Bairstow, Ali Broad, Robson and Anderson to come. Nice partnership developing here for England. 50 at the moment. 3 batsmen getting start so far today. That man there, he knows how to turn start.
I just want to highlight this man, top middle of screen there. Scott Boland's the man at deep backward square leg. Now, one of the modes of dismissal that Nathan Lyon is looking for here, he's bowling around the wicket to the right-handers. Right there, up in the top middle of the screen. He's looking for LBWs. Now, I think that guy there is actually wasted. I think he could bring him up to a 45 and then tempt the batsman to hit a hard sweep shot.
That's gone back onto the stumps. Well, Harry Brook, I don't know, let the ball hit him. It's bobbed up in the air. The Australians initially were looking for a catch, thinking that the ball may have come off glove. Well, it bounced back down. Harry Brooks lost it, and it's gone back on the stumps.
Well, I've seen most forms of dismissal, never many like this. Extra spin and bounce. Everyone lost sight of the ball. Carey, Labuschagne, and it might have hit Brook on the back of the leg and come back onto his stumps. That's desperately unlucky. A little bit of luck goes Australia's way. Nathan Lyon gets his second. 175 for 4.
Well, that's done for us, Ricky. There's no way they're putting us back on together after that. Nobody knew where that was going. Alex Carey had his head down. Ben Stokes, the England captain, is the new man at the crease. 175 for 4. Came back in the balance. England once again looking good. Partnership of 50 broken by Nathan Lyon.
And this is always a good battle. Nathan Lyon against Ben Stokes. He's had to come into some difficult situations against Nathan Lyon in the past, where wickets have been turning and bouncing. Interesting to see that last ball hub. That did actually have a bit more on it. A bit more overspin, extra bounce. Interesting to see how Stokes will approach this. Will it take him on early? Nathan Lyon's actually got about 9 times in Test cricket, but Stokes' average is quite. Ben Stokes to work across that little bit of spin, leaving mid-wicket open. The slippers in place, catching cover. This just looks a little bit too defensive leg side. I don't think there's enough turn yet to leave that mid-wicket open, especially to a brand new batter. If he wants to go across the line and across the spin, make him do it with the fieldsman there.
Here's Lyon. Right on the spot. Yeah, I agree. Mid-off back, even that, I'd bring him up to start with, I think, at this stage. That wicket has got Australia back in the match.
Yeah, I don't mind that one so much. That's an easier shot. But when you're talking about hitting across the spin against the spin to mid-wicket, that's when the game starts to become really difficult.
Multi-bowled again from Lyon. There's no doubt he's Ben Stokes, but particularly early on. Feet probably aren't as moving as quickly as they will be once he gets a few runs on the board, finds the pace of the pitch. This is when Nathan Lyon can really attack the England captain. Oh, he goes to reverse, and that almost bowled him as well. That must have been perilously close to the stumps.
Yeah, a couple dot balls, and then look what happens. This is that ball effect, and Stokes himself wanting to be the man to lead the way in this approach. See what, even at the moment, 4 for 175. They can't afford to lose another wicket here.
There's that single. That's the one we don't want. Works it against the spin. That will retain the strike. Successful over the line, 176 for 4.
This is Harry Brooks' dismissal. Look at the extra bounce. Turn up onto the thigh pad, straight up in the air. Carey didn't know where it was. Brooke definitely didn't know where it was. Actually, it didn't touch him at all. It was just landed in the foot marks with that bit of spin on it. Goes back into his middle stump.
It was quite extraordinary. Watch the end of that replay. You see right-handed batsman standing way outside leg stump, all 3 stumps exposed, and the ball hitting the stumps. No idea where it is, Harry Brook. Either does Alex Carey. This. Bang.
You'll learn a lesson there, though. I think in that, looking at that, you look back at that and you look, right, next time if that happens again, I'm not sure where the ball is. I'm going to stand right in front of my stumps and get in the way, make sure the ball can't get back under my pegs.
Hazley. Now to Ben Stokes. I've seen batsmen in the past in that situation where you don't know where the ball is, just almost rush back and lean over your stumps. Almost, yeah, shepherding your stumps. And that's what Harry Brooks could have done. He may never have experienced this sort of before. He's got no idea it is, but that's when you turn around, just get back to near your stumps and get ready to kick, hit, anything you can get rid of the ball other than use your glove, which I have seen before too. Another good half hour for England straight after break, but that wicket just evens the key a little bit. Joe Root's doing what he does well. He 37 off 60. Harry Brook looking good until that dismissal. 32 off 37. Now England need to rebuild.
I think that's the thing that's been most amazing for me, Todd, with the way that they've played their cricket with their batting, is that guys have been able to play such high tariff cricket but make big scores with it. Like, you look at that card there and you would actually think that that's appropriate for the way they've been playing. You know, How long can you keep taking risks for before you make a mistake?
Either 2 to line. It was when they've been looking good and they're picking up singles, rotating strike, putting together a decent partnership. That Lino's picked up those 2 wickets. Ollie Pope almost against the run of play. LBW. Oh, he's got him. He's got him, has he? Australia thinks so, yes. And Murray Erasmus, I think, raised his finger. He put his finger up very quickly. But I'm not sure what's going to happen here, whether he's been given out or not. It was very quick raising of the finger. Now, the England captain is going to review it.
During the third umpire, we have player review for caught behind. The original decision is out. It is delivery just from time when available. We're just going to have to without breach, please, when it's ready. No problem. Bat and ball pretty close together. Just waiting on Aldridge, Murray. Still waiting. Thank you. Here we go, Murray. Running through. Thank you. We've got ball and bat beside each other despite Murray going to get you to stay with your original position of out.
Well, I think in the end of the day that the right decision has been made. It's a strange one because Murray Erasmus was the quickest raising of the finger I've ever seen, and I think that's why Ben Stokes reviewed, because it was a clear edge behind.
It was up and down in the one motion, wasn't it? But Stokes forced him to take in the review. He's gone 176 for 5.
What a corker. Laithwaite.
The Thatcher's Farm. Slightly obsessed perfectionists making cider with nothing but love. I mean, why grow 8 varieties of apple when you can grow 458? The Apple Spa. Because happy apples make better cider. Here comes Martin Thatcher. Friday, 12:30, tasting time. It needs to hit the spot or not a drop will leave the farm. Yes! And that's why Thatcher's cider tastes the way it does. Perfect.
Dean sells super motors with his super team. Test drives on a super-sized runway at supersonic speeds and celebrates sales with a really good brew.
Lovely. I'm just like a big kid. I'm driving a car worth well over £1 million. You have to put them all away now, actually. The customer's not coming.
Such a wind up.
Brand new supercar showroom on Quest.
Get ready for a Friday night of boxing entertainment.
Look me right back.
As Vidal Riley runs it back against Taj after a cut ended a cracker earlier this year.
And this fight arrows continue.
And stepping up in class is the super talented Caroline Dubois. And Fraser Clark gets his biggest test yet.
It's going to be a cracker.
Against experienced Marius Wack. A big fight night in store, live on Sky Sports.
There is a thinning area on your uterine wall. I have faith in you and Sean, and that your baby is going to be okay.
Fantastic all-rounder. Laithwaites.
176 for 5 at Edgbaston, day 1 of this men's Ashes series, and it's Johnny Bairstow back into the England side after a stint out of the game with a horrific injury. He is back, he's down the order, and he's also got the gloves. Prior to that injury, though, he was absolutely outstanding for England. Pilley at home, centuries after centuries. He's out there because of this. Carey taking the catch. He's been brilliant today. Hazelwood back after a long stint himself away from the game. And the Hoff is enjoying his time back. Owen Morgan, has been a bit of a roller coaster of a ride so far.
After around the decision referred by Stokes, unsure as to whether he hit it or not.
A lot of critics will say, surely you know you've hit it. Surely.
Bats are too big these days, Mel.
Taylor and Ponting just took 2 for 15 in spell. That'll be the first and last time we hear of them together. Targets the pad straight away. That has been his weakness. It improved over time. All eyes on Rasmus. Now all eyes on Pat Cummins. What's the question here? Was there a little inside edge?
तो सबसे पहले तो आप सभी लोगों से सॉरी बोलना चाहता हूं बिकॉज वीडियो काफी लेट आ रही है क्योंकि 500 लेग्स तो 2 दिन पहले ही कंप्लीट हो गए थे। तो गाइस यहां पर यार लाइव चलाने में दिखाने में खुद से एक्सपेरिमेंट करना पड़ता है, चीजों को ढूंढना पड़ता है, उसके बाद ही वीडियो को ला पाता हूं। तो यहां पर गाइस देखो आज है इंडिया और पाकिस्तान का मैच और आईसीसी क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड कप स्टार्ट हो चुका है। वीडियो को ला वाली वीडियो में तो यहां पर बताऊंगा कि कैसे आप इंडिया और सभी चैनल्स की तरह और आईसीसी क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड कप स्टार्ट हो चुका है वीडियो को लेकर वीडियो में तो यहां पर बताऊंगा ये चैनल को एक-एक दिन में एक-एक हजार 2000 चैनल्स की तरह आज के दिन तो ये पता नहीं कितने सब्सक्राइबर्स लेके जाएंगे लाइव और कितने लाइव कर रहे हैं सभी के चैनल एक-एक दिन में 1000 2000 चैनल्स की आज के दिन तो ये पता नहीं कितने सब्सक्राइबर्स में लेके जाएंगे हो जाता है कितने लाइव सभी के पैसा कमाते हैं 1000 2000 चैनल्स की आज के दिन तो ये पता नहीं कितने लाइव हो जाता है कितने स्टार्ट करना है, हमने उस गेम प्ले को अपने लैपटॉप में भी डाल दिया है। सेकंड स्टेप हमारा ये है कि हमें जाना है गूगल पर जहाँ सर्च करके स्टूडियो हमने उस गेम प्ले को अपने लैपटॉप में भी डाल दिया है। सेकंड स्टेप हमारा ये है कि हमें जाना है गूगल पर जहाँ सर्च करके स्टूडियो हमने उस गेम प्ले को अपने लैपटॉप में भी डाल
Confused, I think, is the word. Hazel knew it, Carey.
I think that's one of the first balls that Usman Khawaja has fielded today. Sometimes it happens, doesn't it? Trevor's Head has been patrolling that boundary line for quite some time. Has had quite a bit of action. Usman Khawaja, though, at mid-on, has had a reasonably quiet morning/afternoon. Yeah, it's the footwork to start with, isn't it? He creates the length that he wants. He's confident enough to clip it off the pads for ball.
Watch Joe Root's head position here as he advances down the wicket. Very, very still at the point of impact. Almost allowing to play with a full face of the bat. Work it through mid-wicket. Just manipulating Hazelwood's length at will. Good batting.
This is going to be the challenge here for Hazelwood, who has played a lot of cricket of late. We know one of his strengths is the ability to hit that wonderful line and length. He's got the challenge now of limited games underneath his belt up against a player that's got 11,000 plus test match runs and has the ability to get up and down the wicket. Kind of turned to him just after the luncheon break.
Yeah, seriously gifted young all-rounder. A lot of talent, a lot of promise, but yet to bowl. Bowled about 15 overs in the first innings of the World Test Championship final last week, and a handful in the second. I think it won't be long until we see him here. I think the reason Hazelwood is back on, Ricky Ponting alluded to that matchup against Joe Root. Joe Root being the world-class batsman that he is. As we see Cameron Green lumbering up. It's right to try and apply as much pressure with your best bowlers now as opposed to wait until Joe Root's possibly 70 or 80 later on in the day. Taking the aggressive option.
And 41st, 187 for 5.
When you trade in your old phone, your money towards a new iPhone.
Then we do the money dance.
The Devil is into the attack now. Cameron Green, just 24 years of age. So much hype around this youngster in all three formats of the game. Showed his first stint over there with the Mumbai Indians. He was on England's soil. I'm tipping too he got the nod from Pat Cummins because he's not the kind of guy that would be out in the field going, I want to bowl, how do I get a message through to the skipper? I can remember him getting his first test wicket and it was 44 overs he'd bowled before he got it. And then he was so pumped up and excited and he jumped in the air, he punched the air and then he apologised for over-celebrating. And everyone's like, no, you go for it. Why shouldn't you be excited to get your first test wicket? There's the bouncer straight away.
Yeah, not many bouncers so far today. So Mel trying to tell me that he's an overly nice Australian.
Is that an oxymoron? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Then he bowls a bouncer for a ball.
Does he try and just say, pick up where I left off, or will he give himself a little bit more time?
I don't think he's giving himself a lot of time. Certainly pre his horrific injury, the best 12 months of his life in Test match cricket. He really has thrived under the captaincy of Ben Stokes and coach Brendan McCullum. Big confidence player. Just continue to get better and better. If you were to assess how he played or how you were trying to get him out, given on his recent form, I'd say there are not any weaknesses. But to get away and get a start early in the series would be important for him and the England team. Very valuable. Comes down the order. England bat deep.
Probably deserved more, didn't it, at the shape of that shot? He would have also been hoping that he would have had a bit of a run out against Ireland at Lord's too, but the